up. Unwrap yourself, son. I'm gonna name you Tacos. So when the trout picks up the bait, he doesn't feel any resistance. On that mini jig. He's a pretty chunky fish. Yeah. Let's get fish. Right when I show up. Yep. On that MiceTail. Right in that shallow water. Damn, he's fast. I was just gonna move that because I had it casted right over there, right in the shallow water. Let's go. Come here, dummy. You're gonna be delicious. I'm gonna name you Tacos. No, cool. Yeah. On that mini jig.
On the mini?
Yep. Damn, he just kind of gave up.
Give me that ass.
Oh, good looking fish. Had enough.
Brownie came on top, he just, well,
yeah.
he just dropped it.
All right, ladies and gents, I want to take a quick break from the action to show you what's going on out there. And as usual, I'll start with the rods and reels I'm using. This here's the rod I'm using to throw mini jigs. It's a Katana ultralight rod. It's 7'6" in length. It's got a real soft tip, but a stiff backbone, so I call it a moderate fast action rod. For a reel on here, I have a Shimano Vanquish 1000 SSSP. Really nice reel. And for line, I have Sinister Strand premium fiber braid in 4-pound, and I run that up to a fluorocarbon leader of Sinister Strand fluorocarbon in 4-pound. Now this is a very nice setup. It's a very expensive setup, but you can get the job done if you want to throw these ultralight baits like these mini jigs with any 7'6" to 8-foot ultralight spinning rod and any 1000 series reel, and you can at least give it a try. If you're intimidated by the braid, because braid, there's a bit of a learning curve with it. It is tough to manage at times, especially in the wind. You can get wind knots and such. I recommend going with a fluorocarbon line, like either in the 2 to 4 pound class, and at least you'll be able to make some decent casts and get on some fish. The braid ultimately casts better, but the fluorocarbon will get the job done. And you can have a great day throwing these small baits and at least discovering whether you want to do this kind of thing more often without buying a bunch of expensive equipment before you even try it. The next rod I want to show you, this is the rod I use for bait and weight presentations. The rod is a Daiwa Spinmatic, 8 foot long. It's ultralight. But it has a moderate action to it, but we aren't really concerned with the action of the rod if we're using it for bait and weight, right? Because we're not going to be working baits back with it actively. But you can, if you wanted to, you can use this rod for drop shot and spoons. You could even throw a mini jig with it. It's a nice rod. It's relatively inexpensive. And for a reel, I have a Daiwa Legalis 1000 on here. Really nice reel for the money. Really solid reel, and you could use that for using your moving baits as well if you want. For line on here, I believe I have Runkle Power Fluoro in 5-pound. It's been a minute since I've messed with my bait and weight setups and the line. So I do intend to put some Sinister on here. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. just probably out of laziness, to be honest. But the Runkle is a really good line. And when you're fishing bait and weight for trout, especially stock trout, you usually want the line as light as possible. I prefer 4. This comes in a 5. But 4 is usually the sweet spot. Sometimes guys go up as high as 6, and that will work. But if the fish are being finicky, they may be able to see the line if the water's real clear. Usually 4 is the sweet spot and where I really like to nail my setups down, especially with the bait and weight stuff. All right, now let's go to the bench and I'll show you how I set up my Carolina rigs and talk a little bit more about that. All right, guys, here are the 2 different types of Carolina rigs. One with the swivels, the old school way, and one with the Carolina keeper, which is the way I tend to like to do it. The only difference is with the swivel method and the way this rig is designed to work is that the weight here sits on the ground. That's why I use a barrel-shaped weight and just run the line through it. So when the trout picks up the bait, he doesn't feel any resistance as this line just slides right through the weight here. He won't feel the resistance of the weight, and that's the principle behind it. But with the swivel, the barrel swivel version, is you can't change your leader length unless you absolutely have to retie. So that can be a downside. With the Carolina keeper, it still moves through the weight, no problem, but if you use a pair of pliers and squeeze this, you can change your leader length on the fly, which is a lot easier to do. And typically these are set up, I usually have about a 12 to a 14-inch leader to start off with. Sometimes if the water's murky, I'll go with a really short, like a 6 to 8-inch leader. And sometimes if they're holding a little bit higher in the water column, I'll lengthen the leader out. But typically, I would say 90% of the time, I just use a 12 to a 14-inch leader like you see here. And then I have on here a number 10 mosquito hook, was what I was using earlier in the video. You can also use treble hooks, like if you're using PowerBait, but you can pack PowerBait pretty good onto these mosquito hooks. Usually with treble hooks, I usually do a 16, well, I'd say an 18 to a 20. I like to keep it as small as possible, especially if the fish are being shy. A smaller bait presentation will get them to bite more often than not. Now the MiceTail that was working the best out there was this one. It's a Golden State Fishing MiceTail. This one's called Sunny D. And something about this orange and yellow color works really well out there. So I'll show you how I rig them up, and I do it a lot of different ways because it just kind of depends on my mood, really. But these are some of the best ways to rig these up and get the fish hooked up when you get a bite. Typically, I'll go right through the head. So I'll go on the side of it with the hook facing down and push it through the side and then slide it out so the eye is just buried in the head. I can get it in there. And there's a lot of hook showing. And that tends to work. Sometimes another way to do it, so I used to do this with the old school Berkeley MiceTails, is I'll stick it in the neck of the MiceTail. And slide it through just like that. So it's holding just like that. Another way is wacky rigging it. And that's a real easy way. Just find the middle of the worm, pop the hook on through, and let it sit just like that. Just that simple. So there's all kinds of different ways to rig these. None of them are really wrong, but those are some of the ways that work best for me. All right, guys, I hope that answered some questions. Now let's get back out to the water and see how the rest of the day shook out. On good old El Diablo. Yep. He got himself all wrapped up. Unwrap yourself, son. This fool trying to keep his circle tight.
That's the new
Yeah. He's a pretty chunky fish. Yeah. Oh, stop it. Here we go. All right, ladies and gents, there you have it. Good times out at the old Santa Ana River Lakes. Really love going there. I've been going there, as some of you know, since I was a kid, since I was born and raised in the city of Anaheim. Really love that place, and it really feels like home to me. But the fishing's been real hit and miss there lately. I don't know if it's the weather. As you can see in some of the clips, guys that go there a lot will notice the water level is way down. As you can see in this clip, like where we're standing is normally where the water is, and the water's all the way up at this point, typically. So that area we're standing on is more of the flat where I usually hook up the fish or throw my bait, or when I'm working jigs or a drop shot back, that's usually where I'm getting bit, in that area we're standing in, because there's a little shelf. So what that created with the water level being down is right in front of where we're standing is another drop off. So that's why I was fishing the drop shot for a long time and not getting anything. But I think the biggest problem is the drop off was a little too steep. There was no real flat area for that drop shot to really shine. So that's why I went to the mini jigs and was working them real slow in the deep water. And right when I'd come close to that drop off, that's when I was getting bit. And it was very reminiscent of how we fish out at Pyramid in Nevada. Very similar, like the predators were hanging in the deep water on the right near the drop off, and that's kind of what was going on here. There wasn't a shallow for the bait fish to be in this instance, but they were circling back and forth along that ridge in that deeper water. Suspended, I imagine, and that's how I was able to pick off a few at least with the mini jigs. With the bait and weight, just whatever the conditions are, it's always the same, especially in Southern California. Always start off throwing your bait presentation shallow. The trout are usually right up close, just beyond the curtain, as I like to call it. That's the part of the water where you just can't see into anymore with the naked eye, where it gets dark. I call that the curtain. A few feet beyond that, and that's usually where your trout are going to be, especially in wintertime. They're just going to be swimming back and forth and doing circles in the area. So that's all you have to do. You don't have to make huge casts at most of these lakes, especially a lake like Santa Ana River Lakes. They're all bowls because they're designed to hold water and filter water down into holding tanks, I believe. And when you cast out real far, it's pretty deep, and there's no fish out there on the bottom. If there's fish out there, they're suspended. They're probably about 5 to 10 feet down below the surface if they're out that far. So always make short casts with your bait. If you don't get bit, try a longer cast, but 9 times out of 10, I'd say, in my experience, the fish are right there. So I just give it the old underhand cast and hope for the best. And with that, if you want any of the fine products I use on this channel, like the Golden State Fishing custom baits, the Katana rods, the Waterland sunglasses, or any of the other products you see me using on this channel, there's a QR code right here. If you click on that, it'll take you to a link tree, which has hyperlinks and discount codes for all of these products. And if you want to make a purchase, you can get up to 15% off. So really good deal. They're great products, or I wouldn't use them on the channel, and certainly wouldn't present them to you. But really good stuff, and give them a look. And if you make a purchase, you might save a little bit of money. So that's always a good thing. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them here. It definitely helps out. If you like the channel and like what you saw, please give us a like and a subscribe. Really helps, as do the comments. You can also check me out on my Instagram at Seaspanker Outdoors. You can leave me messages there, and I do my best to get back to you in a timely manner if you have questions or concerns. And then coming up, I got a few. I think I'm gonna go back out to Silverwood. I want to get into Miller Canyon and the kayak, see what's doing out there. Want to get up to Hemet. More Santa Ana River Lakes. I love fishing there, so I got to get back out there soon. It's just a time thing. So many places to go. Like I said in earlier videos, I'm not gonna be going back up to the mid, I don't think until early March. So for this month, I'm gonna be staying local. So if you see me out there, say hi, hope to see you, and tight lines.